Why are you laughing? What's the laughter about?
You just look so much better now. It's like night and day. Whatever you did there.
I put my face on.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right,
let's get started here, bro. Before the microphone gives out. On a world spinning its way to damnation amidst the fear and despair of a broken human race, who's left to fight for what's good and pure? Handkerchief, Dynasty. I am, as always, your secret professor, joined by my good friend and alter ego, the High Priest of Oilers Magic. How are you, High Priest?
I'm okay. Pretty good.
How many emotions did you feel when Connor went from getting the assist to get him to the century mark to just like, it's like his body just went in one fluid motion towards an embrace of Leon, and then Mercy just like piled on in the back in this like moment of pure fraternal joy, you know? Like, I think it's an all-time, in terms of moments of pure fraternal joy, it's right up there.
Yeah.
They were so happy for him.
Yes, absolutely. Well, yeah. I mean, it's amazing. And Connor like refuses to be happy for himself, which is like so admirable and great. Totally. And so Connie. But it's great to see that the rest of the guys were just it was all about like they were like, okay guys, like there's a good chance like Connie could get 4 points in one game. Like if we play really good, there's no like he can do it tonight. It's so insane that guy just like game after game, it's like McDavid 3 points, McDavid like 4 points, like night after night after night. It's so crazy. He's like one of the best players, like top who knows, to ever play the game.
He's like one of the best players of like any sport ever. In terms of domination of that sport and pushing the limits of what people think skill is, of what people think performance is, of what people think like day-to-day consistent, what the absolute best a human fucking being can do in a sport. He just blew the fucking doors off.
It's so true, man.
Like Phil Ivey bluffing it with all in. You got to kick the door down. Connie kicked the door down, blew the doors off.
Is that a Phil Ivey reference that I heard?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's something I think about all the time. Like I'll be driving around thinking about how crazy it is that this is happening. You know what I mean? Like it's so rare that in a lifetime you get to, as a sports fan, that like this happens. You know what I mean? Like it's just incredible. Like he's one of the best ever, and he's like right there, like on the team that you're personally invested in. It's miraculous. It's divine.
Hell of a way to end the season. Hell of a way to end the season series with Vancouver. It certainly wasn't a dud of a game. And you know, the death march of the end of the regular season was really turned into like, this was a nice little like signpost on that death march. Like as we were marching on our way to be towards whatever catastrophe.
Yeah.
Like it was like a little joyful oasis, don't you think?
Yeah. It was kind of surprising how the race to 100 really
galvanized like the fan base. Galvanized the hockey world. Everyone's just like, dude, there's like 56 games in the season, and this motherfucker's gonna put up 100 points. That's like putting up 160 points in a regular year. That's insane. That's insane.
Truly. And I think he's not even at his peak yet. Like he's not even in his prime. Like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
He exemplifies, like, this is one way in which I will say, you know, like sports can be inspirational, because like he himself is so committed to getting better that you're right. Like the ceiling for him is potentially like even higher, quite possibly, because he literally is like he's like a self-improving machine. He's an exemplar, a paragon of like the human desire to innovate and change and be creative and invent things. And like he's just trying to invent how to become a better and better hockey player all the time. It's like all he thinks about. That's what he lives for. You know, that's who he is. And it seems like he just doesn't give a shit about anything that doesn't happen on the ice. You know, it's like he turns off and he just becomes like this regular guy who's just like, yeah, leave me alone, you know? But when he's on the ice, he's just like, he's driven,
It's like the rest of the
dogs
time.
of war, you know?
It's like the rest of the time he's that guy from the Let's Go, the auto commercial. Let's Go Auto. And he's like, let's go to those guys. Like kind of a dick. It's like, leave me alone. Like, let's go. Do you need help? Yeah. Let's go.
So, I mean, Leon also gets to 500 points, which is quite nice. I mean, that one timer, like the Leon Draisaitl one timer, is like, it breaks my brain to like think about how fucking effective that shit is, because it's only a matter of time before the German military sweeps in and they're like, we have to actually like leverage for military benefit this fucking weapon that this guy has. You know, like there's no reason to not, you know, eventually, like he could be a pillar, like they could base a whole pillar of the European defense forces once the Eurozone gets their own military, which is one step before the apocalypse, I think. Like, don't you think once the EU bureaucrats are fielding like a professional army, we are literally fucked.
Yeah, we're looking down the barrel at that point. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think Draisaitl's like got to be the top. For my money, he's the best shooter in the league. Like, granted, I don't know what's going on anywhere else really at this point, but the amount of times I've seen that guy like bury those is stunning. Like it happens, and every time
it to go in every time now. You just half expect it to go in every single time he gets that one timer off from that spot, and it's from like pretty far out too. It's not as though he needs to be close in, and like it's just I don't understand how it's just so hard for goalies to fucking save that shit. They're just like flailing around, and it's constantly going over one shoulder or the other, you know, under an arm. What's the hole under the blocker called?
I think that's the 8 hole, maybe. Yeah, it's like when goalies are trying to stop that, it's like they're not even close. Like they're completely guessing. Like it's just it's like guessing. It's like half guessing and half like protecting themselves. It'll be an attempt, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not even close.
It's so true. It's also just like you get this sense when they're doing it that they're like, oh geez, I'm supposed to save this, you know, like there's the self-pity. There's the self-pitying, like, oh man, like as if like, who's gonna save that? It's too hard. You're gonna hurt, someone's gonna get hurt if you shoot it that hard. You know?
Yeah.
And they like go off into the locker room, like looking down, crying to themselves. I mean,
they almost like they're halfway to like lodging a complaint, and like they at the last second they realize like how ridiculous it all is. Like they come in, they're like, "What the fuck? Like that's so fucking unfair. You see how hard that guy fucking shot that puck? What am I supposed to do? I can't save that." And then the coach is like, "Well, like you have to say that." Like this guy is like, "Okay, I'll try to do better. I'll try to do better. Sorry, coach."
Here's a question for you. Career-wise, he's got a lot of runway ahead of him, Leon Draisaitl. What do you think is the absolute most goals he'll score in a season?
Oh, in a full season?
He's gotten 50 before.
Yeah, I could see him scoring 55 plus 60 goals in a season. Here's the thing. I don't think McDavid is at his prime yet. And I don't think Draisaitl's at his prime yet.
No.
And those things are running like parallel. So I don't know. Like maybe imagine those two on the same line 2 seasons from now. Like what are you going to do? Like those guys, those are young fellas. You know what I mean? Even by like hockey metrics, they're young fellas. Totally. So could Leon Draisaitl get more than 60 goals in a season?
My heart is saying 70. My heart is saying 70. He'll go on some crazy tear. I mean, if Austin Matthews can put up the numbers he's putting up this year.
I know. Yeah.
You know, Solani had 70 plus that one year. Ovechkin had 65 not too long ago. Or it might have been like 5 years ago, actually.
Solani.
But like that one timer, it's like it's as though the goalie isn't even there. It's as though the puck is like, it's not as though the goalie becomes like permeable and transparent like a ghost. It's that the puck passes through them because it once it fires off of his stick, it enters into a reality that's a higher level of reality so that like the goalie just becomes this ghost because the puck is what's real and it passes through him, you know? It's just like it's like in EA Sports when like the just the collision detection is just off and it just flies through, and you're like, oh, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely something that the goalies can't really do anything about it.
Meanwhile, I loved Puljujärvi's goal. I loved seeing, I love seeing other players contribute. It's just like right now, I got a pretty good feeling about this team. There's still a few question marks, going into the playoffs a little bit, but no, not huge question marks. It's like they really seem like game in, game out. I can't remember the last time. I mean, they laid an egg against the Canucks a while ago, but they were just tired. Like they've laid the games where they've laid eggs were all games where there was like 3 games in 4 nights. That's the only games where we shat the bed recently.
Yeah, you're talking about like Mikko's game?
Yeah, we should talk about Mikko's game. 4 goals on 4 shots. What did you think about the body language when he broke the stick? And do you think there's a possibility that the organized crime was involved?
No, absolutely not.
Because I'll tell you, like, you would have made a ton of money betting Vancouver in that game.
Let me tell you, Mikko's body language after the goal was scored was incredible because he wound up. I thought it was so emblematic of his entire fucking game, right? There's so much hesitation and trepid. I've never seen a man.
Yeah, it was interesting. He kind of like held it back. It's almost like he didn't want to break the stick. There was a
he wanted to break it. He was like, and then like an Oiler skated by, and then he was like, fuck, and they kind of looked at each other like, the thing Mikko does, where it's like, what? And the other guy's like, I don't know, what are you doing? Mikko's like, or something. And then the guy skated by, and then Mikko like bashed his stick, like, I was gonna do this. Poof. And then he kind of attempted to shoot the puck or something. Like, I don't know. Mikko's not good. He's not a good goalie.
It's interesting.
Like, what's he got to do? Can we not just say this guy fucking sucks and like be done with it? Like, what's the holdup here?
Well, you don't understand. The hegemonic like consensus is that he's a good backup goalie. Like, you look at his numbers, that's what everyone's saying. And like, you're like still. Although I do think the 4 goals on 4 shots thing is gonna that will stick. The mud from that will stick. That's not a good look. Do
you remember like in between periods, like when Gene Principe was like, he was really going for like, I don't know if this has ever happened before. Like we are contacting I remember he said he was like contacting the NHL league offices. Like Principe was like spearheading an effort to find out if this was the like worst research. The worst start in NHL history. Yeah, it was so. I mean, Mikko's like, what more does this guy got to do? Like, can we like, can we just not say he sucks? Like, how much? Like, he sucks. He's done this a bazillion times.
I mean, he sucks, but Mike Smith is our starter, and like honestly, the league is littered with teams that went on a really great run with a backup that sucks because their starter was good and they just ran him.
But I'll just say this: like, there's nobody else in the league that's giving up 4 goals and 4 shots.
It was pretty wacky tobacky. It was a little bit like you'd expected David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson to show up and be like, "What's going on here? Like, is there some kind of clandestine activity, some paranormal
they really should
in like the space-time continuum or something? They should have played the X-Files music on the 4th goal.
Would have been so good. Oh man. X-Files it's the most underused theme in pro sports. Why are we never hearing that? Think of how much better sports would be if you were constantly hearing the X-Files thing. Oh man.
Well, I mean, it's fuck. Like that one goal, like Puljujärvi's goal, what Connor did to like get the puck over the blue line, like like he like knocked it over the guy along the boards, and then like it was like feet behind him, and he just like pool cued it to like lift it so he wouldn't go offside.
I know.
And then the nice pass to Puljujärvi who just like roofed it. Like, honestly, I'm loving this team, and Coach Tippett. I got a lot of faith in Coach Tips right now too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's been playing.
Like the puck support alone has been incredible this season.
I think Tippy. One thing I think about Tippy is that he really plays a very long game. Like when Tippy's coaching a team, he's looking at the entire season and he's like putting things in place and structuring lines with the whole season in mind, right? Like he wants things to gel at the right time. So it's so easy to, since we're not coaches, obviously we're just like fans. So when we look at games, it's so day by day, like this. It's so reactionary. But Tip has such a good view of like the season as a whole and making moves that will kind of, by the end of the season, if things go like I see them going, we should be coming together at the right time. Like we should be peaking right at the end of the season. I think he's really good at doing that as a coach, like just very steady and very measured. You know what I mean? Like never really, because there was Tippy face, like he gets criticized. He gets criticized.
Well, I mean, and like when there's adversity, there was adjacency to static with it, but like he never quite got there, you know. Like he's very even keeled, you know. Yes. Even when rustled, he'll get a little bit rustled, but in that gruff old school guy way, where you can just tell he's only slightly rustled, and then he's just gonna leave it at that, and he's gonna come back the next day, hard hat and lunch pail, hammer and T-square, and just like do their like fix the stairs, you know?
Yeah.
Remember, he's a contractor, right? He's like, oh, people don't build shit the proper way anymore, you know? Not like they used to do it, man.
Yeah. He's a lot like my dad. My dad looks a lot like Tippy.
Maybe Tippy is your dad.
Tippy is probably the head coach you see most often on the streets of Edmonton. You see Tippy around. This city's full of Tippies.
Oh, I see what you were saying. I was confused by what you were saying there at first.
No.
I thought you meant Edmonton Oilers head coach Dave Tippett was just wandering the streets of Edmonton.
No.
Like some kind of vagrant on a regular basis.
No.
Which sounded kind of interesting. Maybe it's like when the Pope would like dress down and go out into the streets to like talk, like meet the real people, you know? The new Pope. You ever hear about him doing that? Maybe Dave Tippett puts on like a hat and like a big collar and like goes out and he's like, so what do you think about that team there, eh? You know? What do you think about the Oilers right now? Fuck, man, right? Am I right?
Well, I think Tippy could do that. Especially maybe he wears like the mustache just as a disguise now. And Tippy could show up at any job site, like they're tearing down like a Kohl's Books inside of a mall or something, and Tippy could show up with a fake mustache on and get the opinion of the man on the street, and nobody would bat an eye. They'd be like, who the fuck are you? And he'd be like, I'm the new boss. And they'd be like, oh, okay. And then while they're demolishing the Kohl's Books, he could be like, what do you think of the team? And they'd be like, it's pretty good. And he'd be like, what do you think of Coach Tippy?
Why are they demolishing a Kohl's Books? That's somehow so perfect.
Yeah. He shows up everywhere,
hilarious.
Though. He's everywhere on the streets of Edmonton. Anyway, I think he's done a great job. And I think he really is like, that's a great coach. I like the way he runs the team. I don't know. It's true what they say.
I like the way he doesn't just he doesn't blend the lines like a madman. And he also doesn't call out players individually. Like he doesn't pull any of the low class moves like John Tortorella, like lurking outside the other team's dressing room. Like he's going to start a fucking fight. By the way, John Tortorella, they've mutually agreed to part ways, him and the Columbus Blue Jackets, after he had like a total shit season there. But like, man, like, I fucking hate John Tortorella. I just really hate him. He's the antithesis of what Dave Tippett is, which is a good person. So read between the lines.
Yeah. Like
Tortorella is the kind of guy that you wouldn't be out of place. It's in some kind of dystopic like 2050 Running Man style hockey or hockey like league where like the players like families are like hostage, and like if they are like more than -2 in a game, they like kill one of their kids or something, you know? That'd be a good movie.
It's really easy to picture John Tortorella wearing some sort of like futuristic like guards uniform.
It is. You know, it really is actually. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's his hair and the beard. Yeah. The salt and pepper. Salt and pepper goes well.
His face too.
Yeah.
It just looks, the salt and pepper, the beard.
Do you think he comes back? I mean,
yeah,
he's the winningest. How do you feel about this for damning someone with faint praise? He's the winningest coach in Columbus Blue Jackets history.
Yeah.
I mean, he actually had a good record there. And also, I feel like winningest is probably the most amazing word as far as like superlatives go. Winningest? Come
Yeah,
on.
it's good.
Can you
It's
gonna do
pretty
better
good.
than winningest?
No, you can't.
Find me a superlative better than winningest. Although if you just say it a bunch of times, it starts to sound really, really weird.
It starts to
Winningest.
sound like it has something to do with wings.
Winningest. 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 Winningest.
What do you think
Winningest.
about yeah. What do you think, like, to me, if I'm whoever we play in the first round, like the name of the game for the opposition is going to be rattling Mike Smith, is it not? Like, I hope the
Yeah.
Oilers are I hope the Oilers are ready for that sort of madness, because I think that's going to, if I'm the other team, I'm thinking like we have to get Mike Smith like out of there because they aren't that great when he's not there.
Well, yeah, that's the understatement of the year. But like, I don't know if that's what happens and that becomes a problem, I'll be pretty pissed off and sad. That's a pretty shitty
Well,
way for us
yeah,
to like, but like what, like, I mean, someone just assaults Mike Smith or some crazy
no,
shit.
just like Mike Smith. No. I'm saying Mike Smith. They'll try to rattle him. They're not gonna fucking assault Mike
But
Smith,
like
dude.
rattle him, what does that mean? Bumping into him, slashing
Yeah, get
him?
him off his game. Like Mike Smith is a guy that
So
has
like
a
at what point, at
fuse.
what does it become assault when you slash him in the groin? Like the same slash in the back of the leg. Does it become
Yeah,
assault if it's in like the asshole? Like what point does the slash become assault is my
I
question.
think like maybe if you like slash a guy like in the throat or in the face, like as hard as you can, like you're trying to kill him.
Like Chris
I
Simon,
think,
remember?
yeah, sort of like
That was
that.
epic.
Yeah. But no, not assault Mike Smith. Just get him off his game. Mike Smith is a guy that has the whole key to his game is him getting engaged, right? Like he's such an emotional guy, and he's also like the cornerstone of the game in our end, pretty
It was the
much. You know what
cornerstone
I
of
mean?
everything. Like he is so
Yeah,
responsible for this team's
totally,
success right now on like
totally. So
multiple levels. Yeah.
absolutely. So I think if you're the other team, like that's the piece you try to get to. Like you try to
But this isn't
take the Oilers down
sure.
from that piece.
But this is not Mike Smith's first rodeo. He is not.
Oh,
He, you know,
I totally
he's been
agree.
at this rodeo for a while. He was a rodeo clown apprentice before that. You know, he's rodeoed. You know,
Yeah.
he can chuck wagon race. He knows how to treat a lady. He knows how to like. You know, he's got good Southern hospitality. You know, speaks with good diction. You
Yeah.
know, he's a gentleman. Okay, and and he's not going to let anyone fuck with him. I'm sure. And he understands the game within the game. That
Yeah.
is, you know, I mean, especially with like who the fuck knows what the
I'm
officials are
just
going to do. The
saying,
officials could be anywhere. The officials could be on like the Greek islands
I'm
by the
just saying,
time this shit
yeah,
starts. You
totally,
know,
absolutely. I'm just saying, I hope the Oilers know how to, I hope they're expecting that, and I hope they're able to handle that. Because I think that's what could be coming in the series against Winnipeg. It's going to be very much a story of goaltending, potentially, one way or another. I think two great goalies, and our backup goalie is like highly suspect.
is there a backup goalie?
It's a pretty amazing storyline.
Was there a backup goalie?
I don't even know.
Yeah. So there you go. Backup goalies, man.
Yeah, but
It's like,
our
I mean, Koskinen
it's so
sucks.
funny.
Koskinen sucks.
It's so funny that like the new level, like the Mikko Koskinen fixation by the Edmonton fan base is like, it blows my mind. Because now it's like people are like, oh, but he's fine. He's fine for a backup goalie though, and like we're willing to accept absolutely everything. It's like, yeah, but he let in like 10 goals in 6 minutes. Like, yeah, but it's pretty good for a backup though. It's like, no, I don't think you understand. Like he's
do you
playing.
understand the phrase "moving the goalposts," my friend? High
He's
Priest of
like
Weather's Magic. It's like if you move the goalposts, then you can score
yes,
from anywhere. It's a brilliant. It's a game breaking hack of the whole concept of scoring a goal. You just move the fucking goalpost. Do you understand? This
yeah,
is what we're doing psychologically. Because we have Stockholm syndrome, we have to move the goalposts. We have to
no, but
say, "Oh, maybe he's a little overpaid, but we got a good tandem.
uh,
Oh, maybe he's a little, oh, maybe he's really overpaid, but he's decent for a backup. Oh, maybe he let 4 goals in and 4 shots, but like everyone's has a bad day sometimes.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, and now it's like, well, who's like, do you know who Winnipeg's backup is? And you can be like, no, I have no fucking idea. And then that person, like you just did, will be like, well, see, there you go. It's like, well, what point are you making? Because I don't know who their backup is. He could possibly be as bad.
My point is, generally speaking, the backup goaltender is not something you cross that bridge when you get to it. Hopefully, knock on wood. Yeah. I mean,
yes.
you hope your starter doesn't get injured in the playoffs, and that's all you
I'm
hope.
I'm not saying injured at all. I'm saying
it would be nice if we had 2 goalies we could trust, sure, but we don't.
Yeah, no, and I think a lot of teams do have 2 goalies that they can at least trust.
Like I think we could trust like Mikko Koskinen with like a cash float. Maybe they should have him working like the concession. Maybe that's a good idea. Because I trust him with that. He seems like a very moral person. Very centered, very grounded. He's got money.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to see him on concession. Before I'd hire him.
That's funny, man.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think it could be a storyline. I could see that a series against Winnipeg becoming a Connor McDavid, the Connor McDavid show, and then like goaltending. Remember what happened to Winnipeg in the playoffs last year? Like they got kind of like Scheifele and somebody else, and Laine went down super early against the Flames, and then they never kind of bounced back. Like they were those are like their 2 best guys were out in the first game or something like that. And then they were trounced by the Flames.
I kind of remember that. To be honest, the first round is always just like a glut of information. But like there's all kinds of like first round upsets. It's like so super common.
Winnipeg's going to be tough, I think.
I think it's going to be a tough game, but like
tough series.
If we have Mike Smith starting, I count on him stealing at least 1 game. I count on Connor and Dry stealing at least 2, and that just means we need the defensemen and the support players to win us 1.
Oh, so easy then. You got it figured.
We need like Archie. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to call up Dave and be like, look, think of it this way, man. He's like, hey, Connie, you steal 2 with Dry, okay? Yeah. Mike, you steal 1 as well. Don't forget to steal 1.
Like Tippy's writing it down, like,
How do you like the support line? Like, who do you think's been notable in the non-Connie, non-Dry list of forwards?
Archibald, of course. I don't know. Ennis when he's there. McLeod, I don't know. Cahoon, I thought has been a little bit better lately.
Yeah.
Chiasson.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all like a lot of guys who are playing half decent,
To me, I don't really buy into this whole depth thing. Like, I don't know. I'm not a big, when people talk about that, it's like, yeah, but like Connor McDavid, like at the end of the day, I don't really care who scores the goals. Like you're creating a problem. I honestly think that doesn't really exist. If you have a team that has like an amazing record, like the Oilers do, and 2 guys that are the top 2 guys in the league at points production, like this depth you speak of, like that's kind of not the Oilers' issue. Like that's not something that they should fret about. Like, we have the first power play in the league and the 2 top guys, and like this depth thing, it's not really there. So I think the supporting cast, like I think those guys are all like really great. There's nobody who really I have a problem with them being there. I've kind of liked everybody's game for the most part throughout the lineup the entire season, no matter everybody seems to be chipping in. The entire team seems to be competing. And that's something that like, I think Mike Smith really brings to this team because which is weird. Like Darnell Nurse had a quote about that was like, he really showed us how to be competing at the highest level or something. And I read the quote and I was like, it's funny that like, maybe that's something that wasn't there before. It's just a weird quote that like Mike Smith is so important to the
understanding that like it's totally possible that kind of esoteric concept, what it means to compete at the highest level, would be something that a veteran would come in and have like especially someone like Mike Smith. I mean, he's not exactly Andrew Ference, is he? He's like a
No.
goalie who, is a leader from the goaltending position, which itself is pretty rare. But like beyond that, he just seems like he's a really fiery, serious guy that like doesn't really take any bullshit either. He doesn't seem like to suffer fools that gladly to me,
No.
I get that sense from all of his media interviews that he's just a pretty business-like dude,
Yeah. Anyway, I was sort of rambling there, but I think the entire team is great. I think we have a really great team going into the playoffs here. That's going to be, I can't wait for it to start. I'm a little bit nervous about how the city's going to handle it, but I don't know. I'm very excited for the playoffs. That's for sure. I think the Oilers have a great team. They'll be expected to do well. They'll be expected to do well.
They will.
I can just
they should.
It's so easy to imagine people to think, or it's so easy to imagine Connie doing something during these playoffs and people just being like, yeah, like it's just a matter of time. You know what I mean? Like,
totally,
he's there.
Yeah, I mean, he can get like it's possible to shut him down, but you can't do it for 7 games in a row.
Yeah, I don't
not
think
possible.
so either.
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
Okay, well, why don't we leave it there, bro? Thank you so much for talking.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Please like and subscribe. Please visit us at patreon.com/Handkerchief Dynasty. I'm working on a fresh mixtape, doing some of the classics now. Hopefully, I don't get my MA from DC University too soon. Where can the listeners follow you, High Priest of Oilers Magic? You still have that prestige Twitter account, right?
Yeah, it's very prestige at High Priest Oil.
Yeah, and we're at Handkerchief DY1. Our sister show, Night Rule, just launched its YouTube, so please check out Night Rule as well. We unlocked Night Rule 16, where we talk science fiction with Ben Burgess for the hour, so it's super fun.
Wow.
And I cut in some Twilight Zone clips and stuff. It was took me like all day to edit it, so
wow.
Hopefully you all enjoy. And yeah, beyond that, just prepare to begin to plan to enter a state of cat-like readiness for the playoffs, but don't start too soon. We're in the steady hold part of the Braveheart battle.
Yeah.
We're not going to lift up those spears to impale the English heavy cavalry quite yet.
We're not ready to quite unleash hell.
Yeah, but we're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
We're very close. Make sure you got your scabbard your saber freshly sharpened, and your bolts and arrows pressed
freshly
down to the
sharpened. Do you think a lot of guys said that? Like, I got my sword freshly sharpened last night. Like,
I'm sure they did.
The battle. Is your sword freshly sharpened?
Did you know that the archers would dip their arrows in the ground to try and make sure that whoever they shot would get infected? It was like the early form of biological warfare.
The ground, if you're lucky. The ground, if you're lucky, my friends.
That's a good point. Yeah. All right. Well, sleep well, brother. I will catch you very soon, and I look forward to our next delightful, delectable, and delicious discussion.
Yeah, it's always sweet.
Bye-bye, everybody.
I'll see you later.
Bye.